Suns fans, welcome to Suns Latest. This is Rich Rubin, an ardent Suns fan, just like you. So we have so much to cover today, and the nightmare is over. Finally, Bradley Beal is no longer a Sun. He is going to sign with the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, this is one of those stories that has been brewing for about a year, and there's no real bad guys in the story. There's a lot of bad decisions, and there's a lot of bad mistakes. But it really comes down to, you know what? The super team, the big three, if y'all can't play together, nothing's going to happen. So 3 years ago, the Suns were 2 games away from their first NBA title with Chris Paul. We're going to get to Chris Paul a little bit later as well on Suns Latest. But Chris Paul was the guy the Suns traded for Bradley Beal. At the time, it seemed like a decent trade. Like you couldn't really lose on getting a 3-time All-Star and one of the leading scorers in the NBA in Bradley Beal. It seemed like it was time to let Chris Paul go, as much as we all hated to, but he was breaking down at the end of every season. He, in my humble opinion, was the reason the Suns didn't get the title. I'm not blaming Chris Paul. I'm saying his situation. At his age, it's like the Suns just relied on him so much, and you can't do that to a 37, 38-year-old point guard. So now, back to Bradley Beal. He's gone. His $50 million contract is sort of gone. Remember how the Bucks waived Damian Lillard and now they stretched his ridiculous contract? So the Suns did the same thing with Beal. Beal left just about $14 million on the table, exactly $13.9 million on the table to get away from the Suns. And that was the absolute minimum he was allowed to leave, and that's what he did. And he's going to the Clippers. He's going to make anywhere between 5 and 5.4 with them, but the Suns have to waive and stretch Beal. So now $20 million a year for the next 5 years to get rid of Beal's contract. And all this was because even before he came over from the Wizards, Beal had a no trade clause contract. And the Suns said, "Yeah, okay, we'll do that." There's no bad guys. It's just it's a really strange thing that happened with the Suns. So the Suns are now out of the second and first aprons. They are still limited, but they have so much more flexibility. They got a draft pick. They're not going to have as many draft picks as they're going to want to have. But priority one was just to eat this contract and get rid of Beal. And the Suns never won a single playoff game while Bradley Beal was on the Suns roster. Didn't make the playoffs last year. Got ousted in 4 by the Timberwolves the year before. So a lot has to be said about injuries and availability. At any given time, when Durant, Booker, and Beal were on the Suns at the same time, if you've been living in a tent, Kevin Durant is no longer on the Suns either. But one of those guys seemed to be injured or coming back from an injury, or something was wrong. So to be fair, they never really got a chance to mesh. They never really got a chance to see what they could be. At the same time, when they did, it wasn't spectacular. Beal hadn't played more than 53 games since 2020. So that just tells you it's like you're asking for a walking, talking injury. 3 years with the trio. Regular season, 85 and 79. That is horrible. I don't care if it's over 500. That's horrible if you have the league's highest payroll. $626 million over the time that they were there between salary and luxury tax. No chemistry. Just you have 3 of the same player, and then you have Kevin Durant, who you have to defer to him if you're Bradley Beal, and even Devin Booker. It's Kevin Durant. You have to defer to a guy like that, and it's just not in a guy like Beal's nature to defer to somebody like Kevin Durant. No chemistry. The defense already was, but you get rid of Mikal Bridges, you get rid of Bismack Biyombo, your defense is just going to drop. And the Suns got worse when Beal played. The record was just down. They splurged with draft picks. They gave up 5 first-rounders, going back to KD for Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson trade. The Chris Paul for Beal trade. More draft picks. So, star power doesn't really cut it. So Beal is going to go to the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, this is interesting. There are 20 teams rumored to be interested in Beal. I think that's a bunch of BS. I don't see 20 teams interested in a 31, soon-to-be 32-year-old good shooting guard who only played in the East, didn't have a lot of competition, and was really the only show on his team when John Wall went down. So, yeah, he's going to get buckets. I'm not saying he's not good. I'm not saying he's not talented. I'm saying nobody really knows the true value of Bradley Beal as a team player because he hasn't ever really had to be a team player. He's been his own guy. So, James Harden was one of the people that really pushed for Beal because Norman Powell is gone. Harden needs some rest. Harden's still great. Harden was all NBA last year. So if you get Beal on that team and he's healthy, now you got somebody to back him up. But Beal didn't like his backup role. Budenholzer put Beal on the bench second half of the season last year. Beal didn't really like it. He still averaged 17 points a game. He can still get buckets no matter what. But are they going to be empty calories for the Clippers like they were for the Suns? No, it's not like let's just delve into the Clippers. But I think it's really strange that Harden not only lobbied for Beal with the front office, but he went to Mark, how do I say this game? Bartelstein, Beal's agent. He lobbied an agent to get Beal to the Clippers because he wants a third head scoring. So, also, Bradley Beal and Clipper coach Ty Lue, they're from the same area in the South. They kind of go way back. So that really helped too. So $99 million over 5 years, $20 million a season sucks. But at the end of the day, it saves the Suns $175 million in luxury tax this season. All in all, $210 million off the books for the Suns. Bradley Beal, good luck. I'm not gonna wish the guy bad. I don't hate him. I'm just like so glad that he's gone. And I think at this point, I am so indifferent about Bradley Beal as a Sun, but it flopped. Moving on. So, roster overhaul starting finally, because now the Suns can really start getting rid of things or adding things. And I know they've been really busy in the offseason. There's a lot of new faces. But it was time. It's time. So, Bradley Beal was the first domino to fall, and he is gone. And as I said, the Suns freed up a lot of luxury tax and a lot of hang on, I need my basketball. I'm trying to bring the Suns good luck. The autograph of the day on the Dennis Autry, one of the greatest big men of all time. No, that's the 77 Phoenix Suns basketball. That was the year after they went to the finals. 76. I got to be more gentle with that thing. So roster overhaul. There's a lot of new names, new faces on the Suns this year. We're going to start with Jalen Green. We did a whole bit on him the other day. This guy, recently on Instagram, with an interview with Dylan Brooks at Summer League, said, "Let's go. We're going to shock the world. Me and Book." Slow down. Jalen Green did average 21 points a game last year. I don't think his potential has been reached yet. A lot of people, even though he's good and he's known, he got 35 points in a playoff game the other year, but then he failed to get over 13 in the rest of them as they lost to the Warriors. So that was with the Houston Rockets. He's got a new place. He's got a new coach. He's got a new sensational teammate in Devin Booker who hopefully can mentor and guide him. And be a good teammate, and hopefully this works out. I think they're somewhat similar. I haven't seen enough Jalen Green play. I haven't heard enough about him. Not a lot of people have. He's been one of those guys that maybe he's really, really good. Maybe we got a long-term all-star in this guy. So he's really exciting. It's exciting to have a new young scoring type of player on the team without having to deal with Bradley Beal and without having to deal with Kevin Durant anymore. I still will always miss Kevin Durant, just the excitement of having a guy like that on the team. More rumors about Bol. Some have said the Suns have let him go. Some have said he's still on the roster. As of right now, that's really up in the air. Grayson Allen, is this guy going to be needed? This guy was a glue guy the last couple of years. He seemed to fall off last year, but I'm going to say this right now. Last year under Coach Bud, it's not a wasted year. It's a nothing year. You can't go on anything that happened last year because nothing happened last year. And Coach, there was no identity to the team. It was go out there and see if Kevin Durant can win the game for you. And Booker even deferred to that, and it was really weird. So I don't know. I'm not sure, as we've talked about before, what the identity of the Suns is going to be this year. There's a lot of players on the team, a lot of unproven guys. Grayson Allen can always be a glue guy, but he didn't really make an impact last year like he did the first year he got to Phoenix. So we'll see. He's a great sixth man. He's a great seventh man. He's a whatever you need, coach. I'll do it for you. And he can hit the three. He can defend in limited minutes. Grayson Allen is a guy that pretty much everybody wants on their team. We'll see. Nothing on Nigel Hayes. Nothing on C.J. Huntley. We talked about Oso Ighodaro the other day. 7 foot, 235-pound center who likes to defend. This might be a trade piece. I don't know for what. We have Nick Richards. We're going to get to him in a sec. We have Mark Williams. And we got Malawach. We got three really tall guys. Do we need another one? Or are they going to move him to a small forward or power forward? Iguodala is one of those guys that you like it, you want to see it develop. He's from Arizona. Phoenix Suns have always drafted people out of the home state. So we'll see. I don't see a future for him in Phoenix. I've been wrong before. Royce O'Neal is still there, another glue guy. He played one game in the Summer League, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if Royce O'Neal is what you want in your starting lineup, but he's a good glue guy. He's a good bench guy. Great locker room guy, and just very likable. Can hit the three. Seems like he can hit a clutch three, but not during the game when you really need it. Nick Richards. This one's interesting. So going into the second year of a 3-year, $15 million contract, the Suns have recently guaranteed it. They might waive him. Once again, we have all these. We have a couple of 7-footers. It's really just a matter of deciding which 7-footer you want. Mark Williams, supposedly really talented guy. They also got him from Charlotte. They got Nick Richards from Charlotte. Thank you, Charlotte. 9 points, 8 rebounds, 64.9% field goal percentage for Nick Richards. So, is this a guy you want? I went to one Suns game last year. I live in Los Angeles, and I went to a Laker game, and I saw him. And once again, the dynamic was get the ball to Durant, get the ball to Durant. He's not much of a banger, but he can get you rebounds, and he plays hard. I don't think he's an all-star caliber player, but who knows? When you got a 7-footer, you got to see what they can do. So Malawash, we've talked about endlessly. Unlimited potential for the rookie. 10th pick out of Duke. A project, but wants to play. Clearly loves the game and ready to go. And I'm not going to compare him to Hakeem Olajuwon, but as far as the fire and intensity, it is 100% there. I would really like to see something happen with Malawash. I already mentioned Bol. Booker is definitely going to be back. I think that's like the majority of the guys that I wanted to cover as far as, as far as the guys that look like they might contribute to the Suns. Dylan Brooks, we talked about. Love him when he's on your team, hate him if he's not. So I wouldn't mind seeing the Suns get a little dirty this year. I don't know if I completely appreciate and respect Dylan Brooks' game, but there is no fear in this guy. And he thinks he's better than he is, which can actually go a long way in the NBA. I think all of these guys, remember, every last NBA player to a T was the best guy on their high school team. They were arguably the top 2 guys on their college team. They've been the best most of their life. They get to the NBA, everything gets pared down. But the attitude is, I'm the best guy here. Dylan Brooks has that. He has proven himself as an excellent defender. He's already made an all-defensive team. I like him for the Suns. I hope the BS stops with him and he just becomes a solid defender and stops doing stupid things and saying the wrong thing to incite the other team. Suns got a big mountain ahead of them, and they don't need the distraction. So we shall see regarding Dylan Brooks. That brings us to something else that I think is kind of interesting. I would like to see this. Now, I've talked a lot about Chris Paul. Chris Paul, as good as the Suns were in the bubble, as good as they were without Chris Paul, they got to the finals with Chris Paul. And if Chris Paul hadn't broken down, hadn't gotten injured, and NBA players they play hurt all the time, and it's admirable. But if you're really hurting and you're going to be hurting the team, which happened in the finals with Chris Paul, and the following year when they got destroyed by the Mavericks, when Luka was still on the Mavericks, you got to take yourself out of the game. And that is one of Chris Paul's serious flaws. He's such a gamer. He's so cerebral. He's so smart. He knows all this stuff. But if he can't go physically, he actually hurts the team because the team relies on him too much. And that is what happened. Suns were up 2-0, 2 games away from the finals, and it looked like they had the Bucks flustered. CP3 came back the next game about 40%, and the Bucks smelled it and ran off 4 in a row. It's not the only reason. It's the main reason, and it hurts because they were really close. And it's not blame Chris Paul, but it's figure something out with a guy who was pushing 40 in the finals and had played too many games in the season. I hate the term load management. I don't technically think it works for most players, but a guy who's 40, who is relied upon like crazy as much as the Suns relied upon him, yeah, I think that might work. Limit the minutes if they get him back. But think about Chris Paul back on the Suns for one more year. And it's so bizarre. If he comes back, that means the guy they traded for Bradley Beal comes back and Bradley Beal is gone. It's like, well, why did you make the trade in the first place? You should have just limited his minutes. But I would love to see CP3 back. He's an incredible locker room presence. Like him or not, he knows the game as good as anybody. He's a coach on the floor. Dirty tactics when the refs aren't looking. Dirty tactics when the refs are looking. But so what? You got to love a guy like Chris Paul. He did say and indicate clearly he wants to end his career in OKC. People forget, even when he was on the New Orleans, Charlotte Hornets, whatever, God, I can't keep track of all the moves. The majority of Chris Paul's NBA career was played in Oklahoma. He was actually on the Thunder a few years ago, helped them get to the playoffs before SGA and the new crew came in. And during Katrina, he went. The Hornets played a lot of their home games, most of their home games, like an entire season in Oklahoma. So he's got something going on there. But I would like to see one more season with him as a locker room guy, like an Udonis Haslem type player who can actually give you some quality minutes. And I think it would make Booker very happy. He could also mentor Jalen Green. He could mentor some of the new guys. He is another coach on the floor. Coach Ott could absolutely use a proven veteran like Chris Paul. If it's not Chris Paul, like the Suns' proven veteran is Devin Booker. And I still see Booker as this young guy because he came into the league so young. But I would absolutely love to see Chris Paul back in the Suns just for this 1 year, just to see where they are. And to, you know what, maybe he's the guy that gets Dylan Brooks to stop doing the stupid crap, and Dylan Brooks becomes a solid, even more solid NBA player. So here's to Chris Paul coming back to the Suns. I would very much like to see it. That'd be kind of cool. All right, we're going to wrap it up with the Suns legend of the day. So I was going to do Larry Nance. If you look closely, there's an autograph there. I did Paul Westphal. This guy, the late, great Paul Westphal, the other day. So I'm not always going to do like the guys that are in the Suns Ring of Honor. If you ever go to a Suns game, I think it's Talking Stick Arena now. I can't keep track. It was America West. It was US Airwaves. It was Talking Stick. It might be something else. I haven't been to Phoenix in a while. I haven't been to a Suns game in Phoenix in a while. But so there's all these guys in the Suns Ring of Honor. We're going to get to them. We already did, we did Paul Westphal. I don't think Charlie Scott is in the Ring of Honor, but he is in the NBA Hall of Fame, and that's good enough. So, but there's these core Suns players. We're going to get to one of my favorite ever, and former neighbor Walter Davis, Alvin Adams, the coaches like John McLeod and Cotton Fitzsimmons and Barkley and Nash and Stoudemire. They're all in the Ring of Honor. It's literally a ring that goes around where the Suns play. But there's a lot of Suns legends, in my mind, that were never going to make the Ring of Honor. They barely made the roster, and nobody remembers these guys. But when you are a diehard for the team that you grew up with, and it's more than just the purple and orange, it's your culture. It's how you came up. It's a huge part of your childhood, especially for me going to Suns games. And one of these guys was a guy named Jim Owens, or Jimmy Owens, as the PA announcer, Stan Richards, my memory is weird, I remember this stuff, would call him. So Jimmy Owens played for the Suns for only 2 years. No, you haven't heard of him. No one's heard of him. I'm the only one. So, nope, he didn't autograph that ball. He played in, I'm trying to remember, I think it was 73, 74, and 74 and 75. So Jimmy Owens came out of ASU. He was not heralded coming out of college. He was drafted 128th overall. That's the 8th round. Back in the day, there were like 10 rounds. I know the Suns were famous for getting guys in the 7th round. They got another Suns legend of the day that I'm going to get to down the road named Alvin Scott. You never heard of him. Played 7 years for the Suns, 7th round draft pick. And Jimmy Owens, 8th round, 128th draft pick out of ASU. He was a solid player at ASU. And remember earlier I mentioned the Phoenix Suns, back in the day, almost always had a guy that probably wouldn't have made any other NBA roster but the Suns, but they came out of ASU, they came out of U of A, they came out of Grand Canyon College. The Suns had another guy come out of Grand Canyon, NAIA, Baird Forrest, who played for a couple of years for the Suns. Again, Jimmy Owens, not what you call a legend, but he's a legend in my mind. He played 58 games over 2 seasons for the Suns. I never once saw him not in garbage time, but he hustled. He was 6'5". He wasn't that quick, but man, this guy hustled. I have a picture of Jimmy Owens. He looked like a country singer. And I actually had this thing when I was a kid, and he autographed it for me. I'll go find it someday. You can get this one now on eBay, but this is how it goes. Oh man, I can't show you that. I would love to show you that. There we go. Jimmy Owens, 6'5", Phoenix Suns, guard forward. Coolest guy in the world. I bring him up because I got his autograph. Like you get the same player's autograph over and over. As a little kid, I would get his autograph all the time. And it was really cool because he was like, hey, man. He didn't care. He was the 12th guy on the team. But you know what? I think it goes back to as I said earlier, every player in the NBA was the best guy on their high school team. At some point, Jimmy Owens was the best guy on his team. And I don't care if he was a scrub in the NBA. You made a roster and you played and got into 58 games. Not a lot of people can say that. There's 450 guys in the NBA right now? Put that up against the world's population. It is a rare thing to be able to wear the uniform in the show, and Jimmy Owens did that. And I don't really care what the stats are, and I'm not even going to get into that. The final note on Jimmy Owens is one day, I'm trying to remember, maybe 5th or 6th grade, Maryland Avenue Elementary School in Phoenix, Arizona, this little kid running around getting ready for PE. And this really tall guy in a gray sweatsuit, like a Rocky sweatsuit, comes walking up and goes, "Hi guys, I'm Jim. I'm your substitute for PE today." My mouth dropped. It was freaking Jimmy Owens. And I went, "Jimmy Owens!" And all the other kids are like, "What are you screaming about?" And I just yelled, I go, "You were on the Suns!" And he couldn't believe that I remembered him. So that was my brush with a legend of the day. Jimmy Owens, who now lives in Whittier, California, still going strong. All right, there's a whole lot of movement within the Suns, so we're going to, sorry, I didn't even move this over. There's the legend of the day. My bad, excuse me. So there's a whole lot of movement with the Suns. It is very active. It is live all the time with them right now. There's going to be movement today. There's a whole lot of articles on how it went bad with Bradley Beal. They're actually really, really good reading, and what to do and what not to do. There's a lot of articles about how Bradley Beal did everything he could to screw over the Suns. I'm sorry, I don't agree with it. I think he's an NBA player, and he's getting what he can, and he's doing what he can. So the next one, we're going to talk about that in depth and why it didn't work and a whole lot more, and I got another Suns legend of the day for you. All right, Suns basketball, Suns good luck basketball. It's going to be a good year, I hope. All right, thanks for tuning in to Suns Latest. I'm Rich Rubin. We'll talk soon.